Welcome to this explainer. Look, we are officially moving out of the era of simple AI chatbots and stepping into a wild, highly capable new world of autonomous enterprise agents. Today, we're breaking down Dr. Nibani Sinha's urgent, incredibly useful blueprint for how industries can actually govern these agents securely.
Okay, let's break this down. Think of your traditional static AI assistant like a really smart calculator. It waits for your prompt, it does the math, and it acts in a very predictable, deterministic way. Autonomous agents, on the other hand, they're more like interns. They execute complex, multi-step tasks, they query databases on their own, and they refine their own outputs with this non-deterministic freedom. And while that capability is amazing, it introduces a massive new risk surface we have to deal with.
Now, unmonitored agent capability isn't just some quirky technical bug. It is a massive automated business liability. We're talking about shadow AI here, which is basically blind risk. Think about it. If an agent with right access to your financial systems makes a huge mistake, and you can't trace that specific action back to a specific identity, you have absolutely zero audit trail.
To actually fix this and implement controlled autonomy, Dr. Sinha's framework gives us 7 technical controls, organized into 3 main pillars. Let's start with pillar 1, identity and scope limits. First up, we have to start treating AI agents as first-class citizens in our networks. By assigning them totally unique identities using industry standards, like OAuth 2.0 or SPIFFE, we're essentially giving every single agent its own corporate ID badge. This is crucial because it captures not just what the agent did, but its decision provenance. You actually get to see why it made that choice. And tied right to that is least privilege scoping. I mean, an agent that just processes internal alerts absolutely does not need broad database write access, right? By strictly tying permissions to a specific time-bounded task, you contain the blast radius. So if an error happens or it gets compromised, the damage is completely isolated.
So identity tells us who the agent is. But our second pillar, execution guardrails, dictates exactly what they're actually allowed to execute out in the wild. Because the security perimeter has basically moved inside your network, AI agent gateways act as your last reliable control point. Unlike a traditional static firewall, this kind of gateway evaluates the actual intent and the risk score of an agent's query in real time, literally right before letting the operation go through.
Let's ground this in reality for a second. Imagine a 5,000-pound threshold for an autonomous purchase order. By hard-coding this limit straight into the gateway layer, mandatory human intervention is triggered automatically. No amount of clever prompt engineering or hallucination by the agent can bypass that hard stop. By enforcing these really strict volume and velocity boundaries, we're building in a fail-small design principle. If an agent that usually processes 20 records suddenly tries to overwrite 2,000, your session caps and rate limits are going to catch that anomaly instantly. It stops bugs or prompt injections dead in their tracks.
All right, moving into our third and final pillar, oversight and emergency response. This is your ultimate safety net for all that non-deterministic, unpredictable behavior. Here is a golden rule. Autonomy scales with confidence, not convenience. You need graduated workflows that intercept high-stakes actions based on clear impact tiers. So low-risk reading and summarizing, let it run freely. But Tier 3 actions, like external deployments or bulk deletions, those categorically require a human to review the agent's intent before anything gets executed. But agents can drift. Sometimes they start doing this thing where they're overthinking, maybe taking 3 times as many reasoning steps to accomplish a totally routine task. That is a huge anomaly. Continuous semantic monitoring flags this bizarre behavior before a formal rule is ever broken, alerting your security team right away. And look, when all else fails, you absolutely need an identity layer kill switch. Acting as the ultimate circuit breaker, this graduated response instantly halts rogue agents and preserves their forensic memory state so you can investigate later. Prioritizing safety over system continuity by just pulling the plug is completely non-negotiable at the enterprise scale.
So, why does this all matter right now? Well, because of the rapidly approaching regulatory horizon.
These 7 controls aren't just nice-to-have engineering best practices anymore. They are quickly becoming urgent mandates. Regulatory bodies are converging fast. Big frameworks like the EU AI Act and NIST are heavily emphasizing mandatory auditability for high-risk systems. By building a controlled autonomy architecture today, you are fundamentally de-risking your compliance posture for tomorrow.
This brings us to the core takeaway of Dr. Sinha's analysis. True scale requires rigorous, implementable governance. Strong controls aren't a constraint on your AI's capability. Actually, they're the exact opposite. They are the very foundation that makes those capabilities legally and operationally safe to unleash in the first